All right. Welcome. Just looking for a couple of the live stream platforms to connect, and then we will get started. Hope everyone is having a great Tuesday. All right. We are live. Well, everybody, welcome to the 2026 paid ad strategy, mastering Google and Meta ads for landscape, hardscape, and outdoor living contractors. Now, my name is Josh Blakeley. I'm the owner, founder of Landscape and Hardscape Contractor Marketing. And today we're going to do a deep dive into the paid ad channels online, and specifically for the green industry, Google, Meta, core ways you can generate leads, qualified inquiries coming through to your business. So if you've done this in the past, maybe you're doing it right now, you're managing it, maybe you're doing it and having someone else manage it for you. I'm going to give you some really actionable tips here, some things to implement too, and have a Q&A too if people have any specific questions about what you want to go through, what you want to learn about these platforms as well. Look, this all forms part of the growth programs that we run for our clients. So really this falls into these three core pillars of growing a business and using digital marketing strategies to do that. And really the bulk of what we're going to be talking about today is the drive leads column there. The page section there is where Google and Meta falls into. So if you're not even sure how these platforms work, what happens is these platforms, you've got to pay some ad spend to run on Google, to run on Meta, and then either you manage those yourself or you'll have someone else managing it for you. So just so we're really clear on what these are, if you haven't looked at that before, and we're going to touch on a little bit of the automation side of things on this too. But the core part of it here is driving those leads through paid channels, and then we have our digital dominance method, which again is part of something we put into place for our clients. Right at the top there, you've got Google local services ads. We'll touch on that. PPC and social media. Then down in the bottom right area there, really are the core of your typical Google ads and your Meta ads, that they fall into that. And then marketing automation, there's a little bit in that there too that we're going to be talking through today with AI updates and everything around that. And then, of course, there is a retargeting section here as well. We're not going to deep dive too much into that here. We're going to touch on it a little bit, but today our core strategy, our core focus is going through what ways can you use in your business to actually maximize those leads coming in. So first core thing we're going to be talking about, and I'm not going to beat around the bush about this, is that leads are getting more expensive. Whatever platform you're using, you definitely have to be on top of what's happening here. And what this means for businesses is that your CRM, your speed to lead process matter, just as much as what it is in terms of what you're spending to get the lead. It's the things that happen as soon as that lead comes through, and then in the following time periods after that as well. So we'll go through some detail on that. We're going to be talking about first party data as opposed to third party data. And look, this is, yes, getting into some of the more technical areas of this as well, but it's really important to just have a high level overview of this at least, and go into what that's actually affecting with paid ad strategies. And then, of course, we're focused on Google ads, focused on Meta ads today. So I'm going to be sharing some core updates now in 2026 that are impacting these advertising platforms to help you out. Okay. Now, the businesses, the people watching this, the people attending live, getting into this, these strategies will get you results. They'll get you a better cost per lead. They're going to get you a better close rate. They're going to get you more business revenue by implementing here. So obviously implementation is key. So please take these. And if you have questions, please let me know. I'm more than happy to talk through further on these strategies. And why listen to us? We're in this space. We're going after the green industry and making sure that people here are educated and making sure that we're helping our clients to maximize their revenue through different digital marketing channels. And there's some great associations across the country we're a part of. I wrote a book on this called Backyard Empire, the ultimate digital marketing guide for outdoor living pros. And that dives into these strategies to further detail as well. So you can get a free copy, or you can get a copy of Amazon there if you'd like. And really, this is what we do. Like our mission for our business is to help as many landscaping contractors as possible, and that's one of the reasons why I put on these educational workshops so people can actually learn about what to do with marketing, not get burnt by terrible marketing agencies, not be kind of walking around in the dark, not sure what to do, but to give you strategy on how to implement things. With that said, let's dive into it. Let's get into the details of the 2026 paid ad strategy, mastering Google and Meta ads for landscape, hardscape, and outdoor living contractors. And let's talk about the elephant in the room right here. So it's I mean, if you're running any type of ads right now, you're probably seeing something like this happening, where lead costs are getting more expensive with Google ads in particular. That cost per lead, so that cost per click to get the searcher to actually click onto your ad or click through to your landing page, call your business through the ad, or any other multitude of ways they come through and interact with that. It's gone up. It's gone up in the last couple of years, and with meta ads as well, not as crazily impacted with this as well, but still, there's a cost impact right there, and then um, other ad lead platforms. If you've been paying for leads through places like Angie or anything like that, you've probably seen those lead costs increase. And then other platforms like Yelp, I've spoken actually to quite a few contractors in the last couple of months where they're saying that the Yelp strategy just isn't working for them. They've been putting lots of money into that, but they're just not seeing the return. So across the board, this is kind of happening. So really, the core piece of the puzzle here that you want to be putting into place is, any type of marketing you are doing, you must have a really solid sales process. We call it speed to lead. It's that time frame when someone contacts your business, whether it's a form submission, a phone call. Ideally, the phone call is going to a person, but what happens if it doesn't? Texting your business line, reaching out to you through social media. Speed to lead matters for people who are contacting you for quote. They're looking to get information about the project they're looking for. They're judging a business from the beginning, and if they've contacted you, it means there's been some trust built, which is fantastic. You're doing something right to get to that point. But then what happens next? And that is that instilling trust in the people who are contacting you is absolutely key. So your speed to lead matters. The follow up that happens, whether text, email, someone physically picking up the phone, calling them, all of these things matter so much for maximizing whatever you're spending to generate these leads through paid advertising. And think about it. Your paid advertising channels. It's not the same as getting a referral from someone. It's not even the same type of lead in a lot of cases from someone searching through Google, like an SEO search or something like that. Because sometimes those people, they're skipping the ads and they're actually spending time looking through the businesses, and they probably have spent more time educating themselves on your business website, looking through there, looking at your projects, looking at your customer reviews there as well. So these paid lead channels, not to mention, Google versus Meta, there's different intent types there between the two platforms. Make the most of this. So having a CRM to automate this, and bring in AI where you can as well, but just automated follow up is really key to make sure that you are putting this into place, making sure that you're getting the every chance to turn that customer into that lead into a paying customer. So, really, this day and age, you can't afford not to have anything like that, because the companies who are implementing that well and have really solid systems in place, they're the ones able to scale and pull this out on a larger level to grow their business. So, getting that out of the way, the follow up of the CRM, answering the phone. If you can't answer the phone, put something in place like an AI agent to answer, whether that's after hours, whether it's after a certain amount of rings. But having AI actually gather the information and speak to the person is much better than a voicemail. voicemail thing. I never know if someone's going to get back to me if I leave a voicemail with a business. So at least have something in place with that AI to gather that information from them, and that's going to become more and more the norm when that starts happening for businesses in all kinds of industries. It's happening at the drive-through right now. I've had a few AI voice answering drive-through experiences, and they've messed up the order, but AI is getting better every time with things. And then lastly, there, give people an opportunity to book a phone call with you, book a free consult, free discovery call, however you want to frame that as well. But them having a chance to book on a calendar through a landing page, through your website there. Again, people who are looking at your business after hours, put that into place. Put that into place. Give people an option to speak to you or someone on your team. Shows just a next level of professionalism, and then they get put into your CRM as well. Usually for a phone booking, they're going to have to put in some details of the project, their email, name, phone number, and that helps you know now streamline things more than just a direct phone call for you there. So that's some ways to combat what's happening with rising costs with these platforms. Okay, now let's talk about the first party data side of things. So what's happening? And I'm going to keep this real high level, not go into too much detail, but third party cookies, you've seen it when you visit a website, and usually a little indicator will pop up asking, do you consent to sharing your information? Last 5-10 years or so, platforms, websites, different places of searching on social media, searching on websites, browsers, all kinds of things there. They've taken the privacy area a lot more seriously with people's data, and that's why you see things like that coming up. So those third party cookies, they're used to really track detail about you there. So I'll explain the first party data and what you can do with that in a second, but here are the core things you want to make sure that you are building. You want to be building assets, obviously, across your business. And one of its core assets is building out your customer email list, lead email list, anyone who's contacted your business for past quotes, past bids. Put that into place, because then you have things you can use with email marketing that you can send out. And one, you're not having to pay to send emails there as well, but also you've got that information about those people. People visiting your websites, you can track who are visiting your website, and you can use that down the line for other marketing. But the core part of this, when we come to these AI platforms, both Google and Meta have their own way of actually measuring when a conversion happens on those platforms. And when we talk about conversions or through a website, we talk about those core conversion actions as, a lead, that's someone who has filled in the details of a form and submitted it. Or typically for Google, a quick measurement is a phone call that lasts more than 60 seconds. That's their default, and we find that works pretty well, because usually someone who's on the phone for more than 60 seconds, they're not a salesperson. They're not just a spam caller. They're actually talking to you there. So these platforms can track that. Bookings. I was talking about the calendars before, whether it's someone booking to have a phone call, discovery call with your sales team, or whether it's actually a physical booking, someone who's going out to do the bid on their property. You can get that information. And then obviously the big one, sales, leads that have turned into actual sales, where, you even have the capability to put in what the sale price was. These platforms have systems, and with the right CRMs in place, connected all up to this, you can feed that information back to Google, back to Meta. And what you're doing, you are training these algorithms really about the ideal type of leads, type of customers you want when you have this. So again, if you're running any type of ads, you've got to make sure that you've got these conversion settings up in place accurately. But then that next level step is going beyond the older third-party cookie way of doing things and actually using these platforms. Yeah, I'm not going to go to all the technical detail behind it. But these systems, when they're set up the right way, or through a CRM connected in, they can send that data back. And you will see lead quality increase and lead costs go down over time as both these platforms, Google and Meta, start to recognize the type of leads that you want in your business. Now, that's kind of the intro to both of these. We're going to start now with the Google side of things, the 2026 updates for Google Ads and Meta. There are huge amounts of detail I could go into all of these. And look, we're not holding secrets back or anything like that. We have tried and true method that we use, but there's only so much that we could pack into these online workshops here as well. So I'm going to focus on some key areas, things that we see are working best now moving into 26. And first thing I'm going to talk about is our search intent on what keywords you are targeting on Google. So, for instance, the really core starting point should be your location intent people. So, anyone who's searching for your service, or if it's a landscape contractor, that's a good general term to start with. Depending on your service offerings, you're going to get a bit of a wider range of inquiries for that. Or landscaper or landscaper company. Those are some other variations. Though Google starts to actually show it will show for multiple keywords. That's kind of where the platform's at now. But terms like near me after that service and your city or your region, people don't tend to search by county or state too much. Usually they're searching locally, so it's usually going to be the biggest metro area closest to you. But people searching for those things. Mostly they know what they're looking for, and they're looking for a local business nearby to speak to around that. So these tend to be the best leads with that intent. Then after that, the more general, but can be still valuable service intent. Someone just searching without the location side of things, like a landscaping company. You're not generally going to get as many good quality leads from there. But if you've maxed out your budget for location intent, you can bring in something like that. And then really like your third tier is these people who are in research mode, who are searching for cost or price, somewhere in their search keywords there. You can track this in Google. There's a search terms report, which will tell you not every search term, but it'll tell you a decent bit of data. You can look through that and actually see what that is. So think about those search intents. Go after that location intent first when you're preparing any Google Ads campaign focused on keywords. And really, I'm talking about Google, the search campaigns here. Google's been rolling out a lot of other stuff. This Performance Max has been out for a little while now. Now they have AI Max. Really, get the basics right. Get the focused search side of things in place first. Then here are some of the pitfalls that we see when we look at these ad accounts, and we look at people who maybe be managing it themselves or have had another company kind of doing it who doesn't really know what they're doing or doesn't know the industry. You have choices around the type of keyword targeting you choose, and you really have three: phrase match, exact match, and broad match. Google will try and push you as much as possible. They'll try and push you to use everything on broad match, but really don't start with broad match. Start with phrase match, start with exact match. These are the two keyword targeting options you have that will be fairly narrow around these search terms. Phrase match is a little bit more wider in how it will show results and show keywords. So you have to be tracking your search terms report around this and adding negative keywords, which I'll get to in a second. Exact match, very, very direct, high value terms. You're generally going to pay more cost per click for them to get those exact match. But these are ways, if you're going to be spending money on Google Ads, you got to make sure that the search terms your ads are showing for are actually relevant. Or it doesn't matter, what you're paying cost per click. If you're showing up and people are clicking on stuff that isn't even related to your service, or is an offering you don't provide, or it's from an area you don't service, you got to get that stuff out of there. So phrase match, exact match, make that your priority. Really, really wouldn't recommend going to broad match until You have a ton of solid negative keyword lists built up. But even with that, we just haven't seen that working well. Google's trying to spend your money. Uh, they want you to spend money on the platform and as much as possible. So for keyword targeting, start with those top two. Okay. Now, a couple of things around what to do when someone actually clicks on your ad. You want to make sure that you've got a landing page set up for that specific purpose around that service. If you are targeting retaining walls, you have an ad campaign really focused on retaining walls, then you want a landing page, a specific page really built around everything retaining wall related. Don't send your traffic to the homepage. People get distracted. It's just that homepage is generally not built to convert the same way that a landing page is for paid traffic. So what you do want to include is a specially built out page that, clear headline matches the ad, the service location you're targeting, all of those things. Project photos, just, any completed projects are fantastic. You can do before and afters there as well. Form, you want to have that form really front and center up the top for people to submit the details of the project, and then always give people an option to be able to call, a click to call button there as well. So you've got those two opportunities to bring in lead inquiries that way. And then everything else that's going to build trust and credibility as soon as possible. So showcasing reviews, projects, number of projects completed, everything like that. If you offer financing, put that stuff on there. If you have some sort of specific offer, a seasonal offer that you've got, put that on there. But free design consultation is a great one to begin with. Videos, if you've got client testimonial videos on YouTube or something like that, having a couple of those on there for people to actually go and learn about your company with. These are all great components to building out a landing page. But if you're not using a landing page, or the page you're sending it to is just your homepage, your cost to generate a lead is going to go up. And look, some ad parts of Google don't even need the landing page. Sometimes people will be clicking through to your Google business profile and calling direct, but a bulk of them are going to be going here. So you want to make sure that you've got that right. Okay. Now that really gives a rundown summary of the Google focused updates and what we're seeing working best now in 2026. So think about what are some of your key takeaways. If there's any questions people have about the Google updates or the first party data I mentioned, or the speed to lead CRM follow up, feel free to leave a message in the chat. If I can't get through it now, we can answer some questions at the end. Otherwise, we'll keep moving and we'll jump over now into the meta side of things. Okay, so let's talk about meta real quick. Again, just for people, if you're not clear on this, meta ads, you're referring to Facebook and Instagram. And typically, when ads are running on these platforms for local service businesses, a good bulk of the people clicking through the ads are going to be coming through Facebook. But, the platform's designed to make sure you've got people seeing it on Instagram as well. So you need to be thinking about that accordingly as well. Now, the big difference between meta ads is versus Google ads. Google ads, people are searching for a term and the ad is showing up. For meta ads is targeting. And there are targeting settings you can use, but you can see here, I'm going to kind of talk through where that's less and less important nowadays. It's more actually based on what Meta is reading with the written ad copy you put into it and the creatives, the photos you're using, images, video for these. It's going to use its algorithm to look at that. So you don't want to be spending too much time obsessing around targeting like used to be the case on this platform now. But what you do want to do is make sure that you're calling out your ideal client in the first sentence of your ads. And for everyone really in the green industry, the bulk of what you're doing, anything for construction, landscape construction related, you want to be talking to homeowners. So, and you want to be focused on whatever area that ad is focused on too. So mention the region county, state, those types of things. Put that into your ad copy as well, and then explain the service that you're wanting to offer to people there. What you really then want to be spending time in with the Andromeda update is your creative photo video side of things. And my next section here is going to dive into some strategies around that. Now, it used to be that you would be limited to how many ads you can put in an ad set for Meta, but this Andromeda updates now allowed that a lot more flexibility. So now you can stack in a ton of creative, and what you want to be making sure you're doing is just regularly testing out different approaches with video and photo here as well. But there are some core ones we see consistently work the best. And number one, videos where you are introducing yourself, your customer, your company, what you stand for, what you love doing, the why behind your business. Any chance opportunity where someone gets to know you or your team or something like that on video is going to help build that trust. And let's face it, going back to what I said at the beginning, people they're gathering a first impression on you and your business, and they're making decisions about whether you are a trusted company or not to work with. So you can really break the ice pretty quickly. With that client testimonial video, photos, anything explaining that is great. And then failing that, if you don't have those other things, start with the finished project or video walkthroughs or things like that. So at the very least, you want to be putting something like that together. Even showcasing offers on the image text. If you're using that, you can do things there. But really, these platforms, they love the short reel style clips as well for anything on Meta, Facebook and Instagram. You really don't need to have a, a whole video crew to do this now. You can get this done pretty easily yourself if you want to, or someone on the team, or just find a local videographer just to do some pretty pretty straightforward videos of your team, projects, and if you can get some with your clients, showcasing the project and everything there, that's great. But the key thing here is the more of this you have, the better. You can be putting these into these ads and testing out and seeing which type of combinations generate you the best cost per lead. And like I said at the beginning, then which ones lead to more of the books, schedules, sales, everything like that. So what Meta really has done here is they've moved over to this Advantage Plus a default setting, and I won't go into too much detail like this, other than that, compared to the past, it was less focused on this, but it was more focused on your audience targeting and everything around that. But really, just give the platform enough creative to work with as much as possible. Just be putting fresh content out there, be testing it, be looking at those things, and yeah, there are tools out there that can help make your life a lot easier around this as well. And obviously we use a ton in our agency for our clients that help us to really do this at scale. But we do rely on it from our clients. We rely on fresh content, and the ones who give us that or follow our suggestions around the type of creative to use, get the better results from that. Now, that's a rundown there of the Meta side of things there. So hopefully there's some information there just to give you some direction if you're running Meta ads, what to focus on and what's changing around that. So if you've got any key takeaways, anything there you want to share in the chat, feel free to put that in there now. Otherwise, we will also open it up to Q&A if anyone live has any questions they want to talk through. While you're doing that, here's a couple other kind of too long, didn't read checklists to look at. So anything Google, I haven't mentioned much about local services ads, but they're still really core part of getting the best cost per lead. So make sure you got them dialed in. I'll be doing a whole online workshop focused specifically around Google local services ads soon. I get those keywords set up properly and be adding negative keywords around that. So services you're not targeting, locations you're not targeting, competition, competitor brand names, a landing page or pages, depending on how many campaigns and focus services you're going after. And that conversion, guys, can't stress enough. Really, that is probably the most important part once you really get things going to make sure that that is in place. And then your checklist for Meta. Don't go crazy on the audience target anymore. Just let the platform do its job there. But really get as much creative variations in there. So 10 to 20, I aim for at least that to work on there. And yeah, I've been through in detail a lot of different types of creative you can be making. But please get on video. If there's one of the big things I can say about Meta is to start doing that. Let people online start to learn about you and your business, and you'll be amazed. You'll be amazed at the inquiries and people recognizing you from that when you're speaking to them, and keep that creative refreshed. All right, Q&A. Like I said, if there's anyone here, we've got a few people tuning in live as well. Got anything you want to ask or cover? We can go through that. Otherwise, ton of a deeper dive on these strategies in my book, which I've already spoken about. If you want to grab a copy of that, we're always looking for people to interview in the green industry on our podcast, backyardempirepodcast.com. You can apply there. And then if you want to do a deeper dive on this for your business, or even if you've just got questions about any of the areas I've covered for the paid ads strategy here, feel free to give us a call or schedule a time online with us there. I'll leave that up. And I'd be more than happy to chat to you about different ways that can help make a difference in your business. Okay. Well, that is it for today. The 2026 paid ad strategy, mastering Google and Meta ads for landscape, hardscape, outdoor living businesses. My name is Josh Blakeley from Landscape and Hardscape Contractor Marketing. Thank you for watching. Thank you for joining. I hope you have a fantastic day.